Welcome, everybody. It's MLB Now. I'm Brian Kenny, getting ready for this baseball season. Finally, we're joined by Eno Sarris of The Athletic. Eno, it's good to have you back on.
It's good to be here, and it's weird seeing you not in a suit.
You have a good piece up now. It's in The Athletic on what to expect this season. So I know a lot of fans are just coming around to this now, saying, "All right, how is this going to work? What are we going to see?" Let's start with this, like the element of surprise in a short season. How much variance do you think we'll see? Meaning, how crazy can it get for any team to make a run in a 60-game season?
You know, one of the things that people talk about is legitimacy, and actually within 60 games, you can get a good sense, in the numbers of how good a team is. So it's actually a decent sample in that regard. But normally you have 162 games, so like the separation happens. Like the Yankees just keep winning more games till they get to 100. And everybody else is stacked around 80 and 90. What's going to happen this year is you just don't have that separation. So the best teams will win 33 games, 35 games, and they'll have teams in their division that have 30 wins. And so, for example, in the NL Central, there are 4 teams that are projected to go 31-29. So I really think what we're going to see are games, if we can get to that point health-wise, I think we're going to see games 61, 62, maybe even 63, because we're going to have to sort out all these 31-29 teams. There's going to be like 6 teams tying for the wild card.
Do you think the super teams could be at a disadvantage? Is that what we're saying? Or do we still think that top layer of teams, and we're talking like the Dodgers, Yankees, still Astros, are still going to just, even in 60 games, they're going to rise up?
There's something that happens when you look at playoff odds and you simulate the season based on the quality of the team that you think going in, using projections and something. What happens is that the 100%ers, like the Dodgers were almost 100% playoff odds to go into the season. They're now 95. And the Yankees are now 92, 93, something like that. So that happens. And then at the bottom, like the Tigers went from 0 to 1. But more interestingly, I think, are kind of these in-between contenders of people that you didn't really think had a chance that now have more of a chance. The Blue Jays, the Padres, the White Sox. Those are the types of teams that went from being like, 5%ers to some of them being 30%ers. So there is sort of a squishing of everything to the middle. That's gonna hurt some big teams. There might be a big team that doesn't make it, but it's also, I think, kind of exciting for the middle of the table teams. And if we add expanded playoffs in the future, then you might see less tanking because everyone sort of has a chance.
Right. You mentioned legitimacy, and I think we're on the same page here. Like, think of how much we have put stock in that. The Yankees beat the Dodgers in the 47 World Series. Like, they played 1 week. That was it. So I'm thinking, people thinking, oh, it's 60 games. Will they really be a champion if there's a chance? I think you're thinking that too, is that, no, man, everybody knows what it is. So you have your weapons. Now go get them. I don't look at this as, this is the asterisk. Everybody knows what this will be.
I don't even think you have to put a physical asterisk on it. I think 2020 is such a bizarre year that we're going to always remember it. Not even just in the baseball context. In the baseball context, if you see something about a 1994 record or a 1981 record, you know that there was something weird that happened that year. Those are kind of years that stick out in our memory. 2020 will be like that, but I think we're all going to remember like the murder hornets and the virus. Like, we're going to remember 2020, and it'll be fine. I think to come out of this as a champion will be to sort of rise from the ashes, to be kind of a phoenix, and that'll be cool. And maybe some people will say, I denigrate your championship, but I just saw a bunch of people celebrating the Liverpool championship in England, and they had most of the season, so maybe it's an unfair comparison, but they were very excited. That was Liverpool's first title, and I feel like the fans of anybody, if the Padres win this year, Padres fans are going to go crazy, and I don't think we should tell them any different.
No, it's a tournament. It's a season, short season. And, it's a Titan tournament. But what if someone hits 400? Do I care that much? But we kind of do care. What if someone like that can't quite be right?
Yeah, and that's something that happens when you have the big season. You have regression in both ways. So you're going to have somebody, a star, hit 200 because they didn't get those 2 hot months to get back to where they normally were. And you're going to see somebody that you didn't expect. Brandon Crawford 2 years ago hit 383 for 2 months. If those are the 2 months that you got out of Brandon Crawford this year, you might have people saying, whoa, resurgence, or maybe just 2 good months. So, I think that batting average and ERA are likely to are records that could fall, that I would put more of an asterisk on mentally. But I think it'd be kind of cool too to have somebody hit 400 in the modern era, even if you had to say it was in 2020.
Why not? At this point, with what's happening in the world, like, we're going to nitpick on that.
Yeah.
If fun things happen. Fun things happen. Pitching strategies. It seems like all bets are off now, right? It's got to be bullpenning or playing. This is what I've long advocated. Playing to your strength. If you have starters, use starters. Tandem starters. You brought up like all sorts of unique scenarios depending on like how far you get in your rotation. How fluid do you think this will be?
One thing that I want to say is that I do think that it's important to rest your guys and not to kind of do playoff ball all the way where you have your starters throwing in games on off days and stuff, because the way that we measure fatigue and the way that we deal with fatigue now doesn't really have to do with innings. It has to do with the relationship between how much stamina you've built up and how much peak you can do. And that hasn't changed, even though it's 60 games. So even though people come out of this with X amount of innings and it might not look like a full season, 70 innings or whatever, they shouldn't put those 70 innings up in like a crazy kind of October all the way through. That'll lead to injuries. So I'm not excited about that. What I am excited about is the larger rosters are going to lead to some tandem starting. Farhan Zaidi in San Francisco already said, I have 8 starters in camp. They're not going to be stretched out. I'm going to maybe tandem start. And you could see something with like a Drew Smiley and a Jeff Samardzija, lefty-righty, kind of wreaking havoc on lineups in preparation for the day. They're very different pitchers. It'd be very interesting as a hitter to kind of deal with that. And then we're going to have some of the bullpenning that we've already seen with the Rays and other teams, where you're going to have like 6 pitchers doing 9 innings, 7 pitchers doing 9 innings because you've got 28 and 30. However, 4 weeks into the season, you got to get back down to 26. So I'm not sure that this will be crazy all the way through. We'll see, but they're definitely early on. There'll be some interesting lines.
One last thing. Minor leagues out. So I get that we were talking before, the top guys will be on that expanded roster, but there's still going to be a lot of future major leaguers, good players that are out there that aren't playing. What are they doing? Where are they going? Where will they play, if at all?
Well, I've been talking around, and there's some sort of higher-end indie ball type leagues that are going to have a bunch of an influx of minor leaguers, and most organizations are fine because you have to learn something from playing too. It's not just training. But the fun part about this is they're also going to their local gyms and their development centers. Like Driveline is going to have a league, and they're going to go also. I have a story coming out to men's league. So if you've ever wanted to face a future major leaguer, now is your time. You got to go find your local men's league. There's going to be a major demand to play in there because D1 college students are going there right now because they don't have college season. They don't even have like things like the Cape to go to. So there's only a couple college leagues. So check out your local men's league. You might get an at-bat against a future major league.
That's funny. You sparked it. I mean, where I used to live, upstate New York, where there was a what we called a semi-pro league, a Hudson Valley League. And you had all these excellent players. Actually, there were some guys that were on like major league rosters that would be pitching for the Yankees and trying to latch on again, and then be facing some 19-year-old kid from American Legion ball. Like those days could be back. That would be great.
That's happening now. He's telling me all the guys that are in his league, and you thought you had a ringer when you had your former D1 guy on your team, and now there's like an actual future major leaguer on the other side. Right. He's sitting 93 in men's league, so I'm a little scared actually to go to men's league right now.
That's funny. See, like it's a whole AA squad ready to go. Eno Sarris of The Athletic, all his stuff is up there now on The Athletic. Always a pleasure. Eno, we'll see you in other times. We'll see each other in person at some point. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.